Hey there, Kim Baker here with the Gallatin Chamber of Commerce, and we are so excited to be back at the corner of commerce and community for another edition of Community Corner. Today I'm joined by a good friend to the Chambers, a good friend of Gallatin's, and a good friend to so many, and that's Chief Jeff Beaman with the Gallatin Fire Department. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So today I thought it would be fun to have you on. I think we all have a general understanding of what the fire department does, what your role is in the community, but I think there's still so much the community doesn't know. So let's talk a little bit about today's fire service and what it looks like.
Well, today's fire service is much different than the fire service our parents and our grandparents experienced, from the 1970s and back. In reality, we're a public safety department, and if you look at the services that we provide, we actually, at some form or another, provide every public safety service except for law enforcement. So, we, as always, we fight fire. We also, since the 1970s, and almost all of our business now is emergency medical calls. We also provide hazmat response, technical rescue, homeland and terrorism defense and response. And then since 2020, we've become now involved in community medicine following the COVID pandemic.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
How does that change how you train your team, and what does that look like?
Well, so training is ongoing. You have initial training, and then there's ongoing training throughout your career, especially if you specialize in emergency medical services as an advanced EMT or paramedic. There's also a hazmat technician. There's also several different disciplines under technical rescue discipline, from swift water to trench to structural collapse to high angle to low angle. There's also, in addition to that, to the EMS component, there's a community paramedicine and a community medicine component as well. And then as we also get into community health care, we see the future taking us to actually starting to, what I'm going to call house calls, to where at some point a fire department or an EMS person could visit you at your house and actually prescribe or actually issue medicines like basic antibiotics and other stuff to prevent someone from entering into the healthcare system at a facility to look at cost and facility overcrowding, et cetera. There's a lot of dynamic things that are coming for us here in the future, and you're going to find the fire service will be dead in the middle of all that and very much involved.
That's awesome. I mean, that's the first time I've really heard that, but I've heard the other side of it from our hospitals that talk about the need for that preventive care and really keeping people out of their system that don't necessarily need to be there. And so I love to hear that. In my neighborhood, I seem to see a lot of fire trucks come in and out, but not a lot of fires, which is good. It seems that they're very short, and sometimes there's other emergency vehicles that follow them. Is it safe to say that fire trucks and the fire department are often first on the scene for any kind of incident?
So you're probably referring back to emergency medical calls.
Okay.
And the fire service's role in many cases is called the first responder, and that means generally, many times that the fire apparatus, the fire truck will arrive first. The personnel are trained medical providers, and they'll go in and they'll assess and they'll begin treatment of the patient until the ambulance arrives. And then when that crew arrives, our crew will assist their crew with further assessment and treatment and help get the patient packaged into the ambulance for transport to a hospital.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about the fire stations. I know there's several. I know that there's several. I think a lot of the community probably only knows about the ones that they see, that they pass by on a regular basis. How many fire stations are there in Gallatin now?
In Gallatin, we have 5 fire stations.
Okay, where are those?
We have Fire Station 1 on the square.
The downtown one?
Yes, ma'am. Fire Station 2 is located right next to Vol State Community College.
Okay, right here.
Yes, ma'am, right next door to us. And
Okay.
Fire Station 3 is at Red River Road.
Okay.
Kind of our north centrally located fire station. Fire Station 4 is off Big Station Camp. And then Fire Station 5 is Nichols Lane.
Okay.
So they're all strategically located to provide optimum coverage throughout the city.
Okay. And then there's also volunteer fire departments around. Now, those are not a city function, but how do those work with y'all in times of need?
So, there's if I remember right, there's 12 or 13 volunteer organizations in Sumner County, in addition to Portland Fire Department, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. And they serve those unincorporated areas in the county and provide fire and first responder EMS services. And if they have an event or an incident that's relatively close to our city and even Hendersonville or Portland, we'll assist them with helping at that incident. And there's times though, because we're not large organizations and we have a large event, and I'll say the courthouse fire last summer, we actually had 3 volunteer departments come assist us.
Wow.
So we've really established a good working relationship now, and we're helping each other out more and more now. And really at the end goal, it's just to make the community safer and make it better for everybody.
Absolutely. I love to hear that. Let's talk about some fun stuff. I think a lot of folks, unless you have a small child, you might not realize that there are clowns.
Believe it or not, we send firefighters to clown school.
I think that's so fascinating.
And some people look at you like, what, clown school? And I was like, yes, ma'am, I send my firefighters how to be professional clowns. Some of them don't need a whole lot of education. It's a good way to blow off steam after a long day in the fire station, and you still see some practical jokes, and I call some of my little jokers, but it's all in good fun. But on the serious side of things, we have a clown troupe. And every fall during Fire Prevention Month, they travel to every school here in Gallatin, the elementary schools, and they put on a safety skit and play for the kids for all ages. And it includes fire safety and stranger danger and what to do with matches and how not to plug in too many cords into one outlet. And they put on a song, dance skit. They get the kids involved, and everybody has a great time. But at the end of the day, the kids are learning something. And
Absolutely.
we've had a couple of instances from where the kids learned something about that safety message, they were able to apply that and have a good outcome with an emergency at their house.
And I think that's great. And your team, we've had to call the fire department a few times for potential gas leaks at our house, and they're always so great when they show up. Anlin has probably a collection of hats and stickers now because they are welcoming and they are inviting, and she feels safe when they're around. And I think that's the end goal, that we, especially in something that could be traumatic, that these kids feel safe.
Well, we also we empower them, and we give them knowledge, and we give them skills, so when they experience that event, it's not something foreign to them.
They know what to do.
They've had that education, so they have something to pull from that little toolbox on their hip and say, I need to do this.
Right.
And when they had fun doing it, they seem to really remember that, and they can implement that pretty efficiently.
So talking about Fire Station 1, which is located right next to the Gallatin Police Department and City Hall, it's kind of, when I think of like a city, I think of what we have in Gallatin. It's so fun that everything's right there. Now, trick or treat on the square and Halloween, I know you see a lot of visitors. Kids come by and they visit and they can sit in the fire truck. Do y'all welcome visitors at any time?
Absolutely. We are open to the public. We are the community's fire department. We're the community's public safety department. We want to tell people our story. We want to show you our equipment. We want to tell you what we do. We want you to feel as involved as you want to be with our profession, the services we provide the city.
Talk about the fleet too. I have the opportunity to see the newest ladder truck a lot because I see it, and sometimes I work past dark, and so I see it out there with the lights on. So that's the newest one that has the red, white, and blue ladder. Right?
It has the ladder lights that are red, white, and blue. It actually helps the operator determine how far the ladder is out.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And it gives him a visual reference if he has to actually place it near or on a building.
Ah, okay. It also looks really cool. What else is in the fleet, though? I know I've seen some smaller trucks, and I know there's other fire trucks, and they look a little different.
You have what we call the platform fire truck, is the fire truck you're referring to with the ladder that has the bucket that people can ride in as you elevate and articulate the ladder around. Then we have fire pumpers, and their primary goal is to pump water from a fire hydrant or the onboard water, the booster tank we call it, to fight fire. To supply the hose lines that attack the fire, or supply large volumes of water to the platform fire truck if we have a large fire we need to combat. We also have a brush truck that can go off-road and handle grass fires and things that are not on near a paved road. We have several SUVs for command purposes for chief officers and command officers to use. But one thing we are looking at here in the very near future, and we're just actually waiting on vehicles to come in, is in many cases for our EMS calls, we actually want to start sending SUVs versus the big red truck, because we know it's much more efficient and cost effective, but the community's still getting the same level of service. We're just trying to look at ways, and we identify this as one major way to reduce our operating costs, but still provide the same level of service to the community. In reality, the cost to drive an SUV to an incident is far less than it would be to drive what I call the big red truck.
Well, as a taxpayer, I appreciate that, so thank you, and I'm sure others do as well. Last week, I was at the Civic Center, which Gallatin has a Civic Center. It's a recreation facility, and my daughter was taking swim lessons, and in the lane next to her, there were several of the firefighters practicing. They were practicing for swift water rescue team?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
so
tell us about that.
we are developing a swift water rescue team, and we're working through the accreditation process through the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency right now, and it's a very stringent process with specific criteria that we have to meet so our team is qualified and credentialed. One of those things is they have to take an annual swim test, and it consists of several different events. And they were doing their swim test. Some were testing and some were practicing.
These guys were practicing.
Yeah. So it's a pretty rigorous test, and they have to practice with that. But that's part of that credentialing and qualification process, because once we're credentialed and we're a accredited team, not only can we help people here within the city or Sumner County,
you can send
it allows
others.
us to deploy across the state in case other communities need our help.
Awesome. Well, Anlin knew some of the guys swimming, and she just felt like a hot dog that she was swimming in the lane next to the firefighter. So
that is awesome.
That was fun to see them out. And even in that moment, where they're probably not necessarily on the clock, they're there practicing, they were definitely interacting with the community, and that was fun to see. We talk about training. I think that y'all are doing some unique things that start training even earlier, and the Fire Explorers program. And I understand that it is, did it take a hiatus, but it's returning back, or?
No, the Explorer program's been ongoing.
Okay.
It slowed down during COVID. Everything slowed down during COVID.
Yeah, what did?
But we've reestablished it. We've actually just completed a pretty large recruitment drive. I think we have over 15 or 18 new Explorers. And so these are young people, men and women, or young men, young ladies, from age 14 till 21. And the Explorer program allows them to learn about our profession, and we do that through hands-on training, classroom, field trips, and here soon, when we lay out the qualification process for explorers who are 16 or older and meet certain qualifications, they're actually going to be able to ride with the firefighters on duty to make calls to get that experience as well.
To see it firsthand and experience.
And this is all done through the Boy Scouts Learning for Life program.
Okay.
And they have a very well-structured program, and we are following their rules and regulations. But I'm very supportive of that program. I think that that's just another way for us to become more involved in the community. And I've got to also say something else. It's helped with recruitment.
Oh, I'm sure.
We've hired 2 of our employees now from our Explorer program. So not only are they learning about our profession, they're serving their community now after being a member of that Explorer program. And I really hope in the future that we're able to hire more of our full-time personnel from that program. What's a better way in high school to get involved with one of the best jobs in the world and then become a full-time member with a career in the fire service?
Absolutely. Those certainly probably make some of the best employees when you start them that young and then work them all the way up. Is there also a partnership with the high schools through that program?
So that's the one that's kind of on the hiatus right now, but we are working very diligently with Sumner County Schools to get that back. We missed that program. That's another way that we're in the community. We're teaching a lot of some of the what I would call semi-technical aspects of our profession, but it's done in the classroom environment. In the children, while they're getting high school credit, they're also getting college credit as well. So we're working very hard to get that back. We've had a lot of people reach out to us wanting to know where the program was. So we have we've solved the hiatus, and now we're about to bring it back.
Awesome. I was actually at Gallatin High School last week, and they mentioned the return of the program.
Yes, ma'am. We are looking forward to that.
That is classified as a CTE program, which is a career and technical education program. And so, as Chief said, students are enrolled in high school, but they're also taking these classes and getting the required high school credentials, but also working towards a certification that they can use post-high school. So, well, I am certainly very impressed with your leadership and the things that go on at the Gallatin Fire Department. I appreciate the community partnership you have with the chamber, but also so many within our city. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how could they do that?
I can't remember the phone number. My email address, you can get on the city website,
Okay.
very easy to find with the links to the city website. Just follow the fire department link. She'll get to either my email or my phone number. You can call or email, we'll get right back with you.
And if you want to keep up with the great things that the Gallatin Fire Department has going on, certainly follow them on social media. They keep some really great content out there that's super informative and engaging to the community. So thank you for joining us. So since the last time we've met, we had the Gallatin Shamrock Run. It was the 10th annual event, and it was such a fun event. We had almost 500 runners take over the streets of Gallatin, and so we'll be sharing those pictures on the Chamber social media coming up soon. Next month, on April 27th, we have the Sumner County Youth Job and Opportunity Fair. That is geared for those who are seeking employment or volunteer opportunities in the Gallatin area. Really cater to that 15 to 24-year-old bunch, letting them know that those opportunities exist right here in their own backyard. For more information on those events and anything happening in the Gallatin area, you can visit our calendar on our website at gallatintn.org. So, Chief, thank you for joining us, and thank you for those who have tuned in. We're so glad that you met us here again on the corner of Commerce and Community, and we can't wait to see you again next week.